to this Honcast.com presentation. I'm Breaking CPK, going to be one of your three podcasting hosts tonight, as you can see in front of you. Yes, you are tuning into the Honcast Weekly Podcast. We are live here. I'm from the S2 Games studio, well, S2 Games office, I guess, better word for it. Anyways, of course, Breaking CPK here, going to be joined by Xander K, S2 Games Community Manager, and Ziori, obviously doing the It's Gosu casting over there. So appreciate it, you guys tuning in. Plenty of Heroes Newer to talk about, as always. So, we got quite the show planned for you guys tonight. With that said, throw it around the table. Let you guys introduce yourself again. Xander K, how you doing, buddy?
How am I doing?
How are you doing? I care.
I'm alright. I'm okay.
New Jersey's not doing so well.
Yeah.
That'll remind you. King's doing pretty good, though.
He's doing pretty good. I did get to go this past weekend. I actually went to New Jersey and attended Game 2 of the finals, which was a great time, you know, despite taking a loss. I did, you know, and you know, the long and the short of it is, you know, no matter what happens, I really enjoyed getting, you know, watching the team get to the run. So
yeah,
get here. So it was really fun. So the game 4 is tonight. They might lose. They might put it to a fifth game. We'll see. But outside of that, just really busy preparing for DreamHack. Really excited to get there, to get over to Sweden and see all you fine European fellows again. Gonna have a very good time. When you see me, I will be clean shaven as well, so that will be good.
Thank God. I've already gone there.
It's like a playoff beard, and it's getting like thick now too. So like.
Yeah. I was there very recently, but I finally decided, you know, enough's enough. I know I don't know if actually Ziori has seen my clean shavenness, my sexiness, but
I can see it on the stream now.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Very true. I know, right? Good looking individual right there.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah, obviously looking forward to the DreamHack event, which is, of course, that's so soon, man. I mean, we leave next Thursday, isn't it? Next Thursday, June 14th. Yeah. So
14th.
God, that is just.
I gotta get my clothes dry clean
tomorrow.
Ziori, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well.
Don't forget your passport.
Yeah,
don't forget your passport. I actually found my passport today. Big sigh of relief. I was like, oh, thank God. Whew. I'm doing very well. I did a breakdown this morning for the first time in like 2 or 3 weeks or something, so that was fun and exciting. I even got to talk to Limp for like a 5 or 10 minute interview about his Polywog Priest, so that was cool. I learned a little bit this morning. Other than that, I've had a fairly relaxing day, feeling bright and sharp and ready to podcast, Mr. Breaky CPK.
That's good to hear. Obviously, guys, today we are starting a little bit early. Earlier than normal, as I guess not really early, but we are starting earlier than usual here on the Honcast Weekly Podcast. We are trying to perhaps adjust a little bit. Obviously, it used to be about an hour and a half from now when we'd usually start. But, you know, we want to give the European crowd a chance to tune in as well. So we're trying to make it, you know, best of both worlds. Obviously, we do work during the day, so I've got the day jobs to take care of. But hopefully around this time, perhaps, can actually can work out. We'll see how it goes. We may make some more adjustments, but we'll see. So. Yeah, but the Honcast Weekly Podcast, as I said, plenty to talk about, kind of just a rundown of what you can expect for today. Of course, a couple of tournaments, big tournaments. The It's Gosu Invitational happened over the weekend. I know Ziori had a lot of coverage time with that, so going to look for him to give us his insight on what happened there. The Cooler Master Honor Tournament, of course, took place, and we got the qualifiers and then even the group stages. Had a lot of fun with that. And we'll discuss that a little bit, as well as another tournament that was just recently announced. And then, obviously, for our discussion period, we got a couple topics, one being the top 10 community rankings. It is that time, guys. 2 weeks have passed since our previous rankings, so that means our new rankings are out. And we'll show the official rankings as well as give our own takes. And then we're going to talk about the community patch that did come out, of course, Friday, and get our thoughts on, you know, what we like about it, what we absolutely hate about it. No, probably not that much, but... just, you know, our insight on what we think about some of the changes. And tomorrow we are planning on having a Dog Kaiser on as kind of a, you know, a short, not necessarily a short podcast, but different style podcast. But it's going to be all about this patch and maybe some more information. So you can look forward to that tomorrow, guys. But tonight, no Dog Kaiser. Got to deal with just us. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown there of what to expect. So we'll start it off, though. The It's Gosu Invitational, as I said, it did take place this last weekend. And pulling up the brackets for you guys to see in case you missed any of the action. Some interesting results, but how about that? Team It's Gosu happens to win the It's Gosu Invitational. That's always a good thing. The It's Gosu organization, I'm sure, feeling happy about this weekend overall.
Yeah, definitely good to see the team winning. I mean, the team has really been looking good today, of course. Limp played a fine Polywog Priest all weekend long. Not only, I think he played it at least a couple times in the Invitational, but also we have to see him in the Honor Tournament.
Yeah.
Doing some pretty serious Polywog Priest work. So Limp has been on fire, and the whole team's just really coming together. They're excited about DreamHack. They're going to be there in the BYOC, and they're feeling pretty confident. I have to say, they're probably my favorite or second favorite to take the BYOC. So very good chance we could see them in the actual tournament at DreamHack. But the tournament itself, that wasn't the only upset. Of course, they 2-0'd TDM at the end. In the first round, Fnatic Raid Call got 2-1 by A-Man. So Peter Pandem's team picked up a little bit of an upset moving into the semifinals, but unfortunately they got 2-0'd by TDM shortly after. TDM also 2-0'd kind of their way to the finals, picking up another flawless victory over SGTY. Yeah, that's kind of general consensus of the weekend. It seems you can't just play Diablo 3 full-time and still win Heroes of New Earth Invitationals.
I will say this much. Obviously, we're kind of poking at trademark esports a lot, especially with that. But
that's 100%.
They still, well, TT Esports has actually played a bit of Diablo 3 from my understanding as well. So I don't want to make it seem like it's just trademark esports playing, but they are, they're obviously one of the more known ones for doing it. But
let me put it this way. When we were in the lobby, everyone was there ready to go except Moon. I turn on his stream. He's still selling items on Diablo.
Yeah.
I start spamming in chat, and he finally joins the game, then says, wait, do I turn off my stream? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, all right, fine. The second they lost, I think before the concede vote passed, he was already streaming Diablo. He didn't even close Diablo 3 throughout the entire stream. It's ridiculous. He is hardcore, man. Hardcore witch doctor.
Isn't he getting less... Like, what's his viewer count like? Like, because I haven't even seen his. I haven't even looked at his
It's not
stream.
nearly as much as he was getting when he was streaming full time Han.
It was like 950 or so when I tuned in right before the tournament. So it's like
it is funny. He actually what he was doing. He sells lessons or playtime in Han for Diablo 3 Gold, from my understanding as well. So people actually pay him Diablo 3 Gold to play with him for an hour or so. And Han, it's like Han has just become like a complete business to him now, and all he's focusing on is Diablo 3. I love it. Anyways, you would hope that, again, as we're just talking about, we got a week and a half, less than a week and a half even before DreamHack. Maybe it's time now to start, bunkering down a little bit and be like, there's $60,000 on the line. We're representing North America. Maybe we should focus on Han just a little bit here.
Yeah.
I don't think that's asking too much, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for the past 2 weeks or so that it's almost that time when these teams are going to start boot camp, and it is that time. I mean, we're running out here, so they're going to definitely be looking to step it up. It sort of felt like they were out of shape. I mean, Diablo jokes aside, I think it really showed in their play. Teammates Gosu played really well, but TDM, they just didn't have all the pieces there. It seemed they weren't really communicating. The first game, 15-minute concede. Unfortunately, I deleted the VOD, but it was a 15-minute concede. Moonmander was like an 0-6 electrician or something in 15 minutes. It's just they didn't have their heads there.
But you deleted the VOD? It was just
with Own 3D, you have to toggle the record, stop record, and I did one too many toggles, and it just stopped recording.
I thought you were like, this is such an embarrassing match. Let's just get rid of it. Let's just act like it didn't even happen.
It was a pure accident. It was an interesting game, too, because, 15-minute concede, it was pretty action-packed, but... so I did screw up on that one. That was my big mistake of the weekend. Probably of the month, I guess.
Yeah.
So far, at least.
Good times. You mentioned, though, teammates Gosu. Those guys, they look strong lately. Not obviously winning this invitational. They got off to a great start in the honor tournament of what we covered of them. So I believe they're now 4-0 in their group and about to play Black Fade coming up this Friday, I believe it is, for the Cooler Master event. So... yeah, you mentioned, I'm guessing the other team that you think has a chance in the BYOC would be SGTY. Is that the other team on your mind, Ziori?
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
Was SGTY the other team on your mind for BYOC?
Yes, those are kind of my top two. Peter Pandem's team will be in the BYOC 100%. Do we know?
I wouldn't say 100%. I think Peter is going.
Peter's going.
So, yeah.
Peter's definitely going.
If he's going from America, I would assume.
Just
a reason
Peter, or is it like the whole roster?
Peter is actually going to play all 5 computers, and it might be a little difficult.
It's going to multi-bot. It worked well in World of Warcraft. Why not?
Yeah, well, have you heard of this new strategy? It's actually really popular. It's called pub training. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
He's actually just going to do that.
They get a 5-man lane from the beginning.
Just move.
He can find the trifecta of heroes where if you push Q on all of them, it's like
Exactly.
a target spell.
Precisely.
Multi-boxing shamans and shit.
It seems like Thunderbringer would be pretty powerful for that. Just W.
You can't just do all Thunderbringers. You have to like come up with like this awesome lineup.
I guess, yeah, if you had to be different. Well then.
It'd be
Clan
great if
Milk.
Clan Milk
Is not. Yeah, I just saw that. No, Clan Milk
That
is
would be
not
great,
going to the
especially
UALC.
given what they've had.
But yeah, that's another team actually, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later on with the top 10 segment. But another team that's been having some impressive results. But yeah, just one last look here, guys, at the It's Gosu Invitational and what actually happened with it. I mean, Ken, did you have any thoughts on this event and Team It's Gosu doing so well?
Just really glad to see them do that well. I mean, obviously they that's been another team that has had some small ups and downs. I mean, obviously not losing Fresh Pro from the team or kicking him out or what exactly happened certainly was an interesting little storyline. But to see them come back and be so strong is really cool, and it looks like they're just one of those teams that's peaking at the right time, and that's obviously what you want to do going into DreamHack and going into BYOC and make some money, you know?
Yeah, it's of course making the monies.
Making some money.
I also like A-Man. I mean, they continue to be such a consistent team. You mentioned that upset that they had in the first round over Fnatic Raid Call, and then they get to so many semifinals. It seems like they get to that just before the finals moment. Obviously, losing to Trademark Esports in that semifinals matchup. I'm not sure what happened with the third place. Was the third match place even played, or?
So let me talk to you about third place matches here for a second.
No one cares. I know.
Okay, I detest the third place matchup unless we're talking about enough money that it matters for third place.
DreamHack it will matter.
DreamHack it will matter.
And that's a perfect example. For a tournament like this, this format or whatever for this month, I didn't have any hand in. And I don't understand that. There's like, well, let's just give $250 to third. I'm like, why have to manage another best-of-3 series for an amount of money that the teams don't care about? It's just an extra headache, and the teams usually don't want to play it anyway. It seems like 50% of the time for $250 for third place, it's like a quick 1-0, and then they're like, all right, fuck it, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
Or they don't even show up. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know if they ever played. I really don't. I'm boycotting the third place match.
Fair enough. I mean, you're right. It
just silly.
like one of those moot points.
I really don't know who won or if they even played. I haven't heard anything.
Wouldn't surprise me if they didn't, especially with the European versus Australian match. I mean, those aren't the easiest to.
And there's another problem, Breaky, as we continue along the list of why this was not a good idea. So I don't know. I'm sorry to report.
It was good to see Orange Esports in there. They replaced it was a 15 team, right, with Bassett's and
Bassett's team. I don't remember who else was on the roster, but they kind of dropped out last second, just like, oh yeah, that was today. We don't have enough people. Sorry. So the Orange Esports guys, I will tell you, I don't know what those guys do, but they've done this like 3 times.
They're just on like all the time, yeah.
Like 10 minutes before the tournament, we're just like, hey, do you guys want to play? Like, we've got this spot, a lot of money. Like, come on, and they're just like, yeah, okay, sure. Let me call my friends. All right, yeah, we're on, ready to go.
They know how to do, you know.
Like it's like they're already at their computers, just waiting. Like, man, we just finished a scrim. This couldn't have been any more. I don't know how they do it. I don't even know what time it is over there. They're just always 100%.
I wouldn't be surprised if they also go to a lot of LAN centers, you know, most of the days.
Yeah.
Obviously over there, that's very popular. So.
I mean, I don't know if they're like real life friends I mean, I don't know much about their team, but it's pretty incredible.
Well,
you
will.
I was going to say we're gonna learn more about them.
Yeah. You'll get to shake their hands and be like, "You're awesome. Thank you for coming online at short notice."
I will say though, it seems to me I don't have too much data to back this up, but times when we ask them to come in at the very last second, they don't perform as well. So it is a little bit. Not upsetting, but to see them come in last second and then just get 2-0'd by Frey, it's like, oh man, that sucks. That's not really representative of your skill. I'm sorry that happened, but major props for them showing up and playing a series. I can admire that from a tournament organizer standpoint. They are awesome.
I can't wait to see them play DreamHack though. I really can't. I mean, something tells me, I got this little thing in the back of my head that's like, these guys, they're just gonna come out and. I know the schedule was. I believe they're set to play Black Fade for one of the first matchups, or for out of the 2 first matchups, they're one of those matchups. I don't know if we're actually going to be covering that. We're still waiting to announce it, I believe. But I don't know. I'm just saying. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. You know, BXF is going to be coming in there. That the LAN experience is going to be new for them. And Orange, on the other hand, I mean, I'm sure it's all overall new for them too. But like I said, they do play at a lot of LAN centers. I'm sure that's very popular over there in Singapore. And in that sense, at least, they definitely got that thing going. So Of course, it will be in Europe, and that's where BXF might have the advantage. But anyways, that's going to be exciting. I really am looking forward to that. So, God, so close once again. Yeah, though. That was it. So that's just Gosu event. I know. I'm just it's so close, man. I love Sweden. It's a lot of fun being there.
Sweden is pretty cool, Frankie.
I'm not gonna lie. I could live in Sweden if.
Oh, I would
if
love to
could.
live in Sweden. Yeah,
it's nice. I have a couple friends there. Stockholm's nice. What else do you need? Friends and nice environment.
Yeah.
Breaky, if you just want to start a new life, man, we can build a studio far, far away. Learn Swedish.
You and I.
Network our way up the social hierarchy.
Make it happen.
Hierarchy.
Aren't
And
the-
you can come too.
So
if you
is
want.
like
Germany.
is Too Good like a mob boss in this social hierarchy to put on now?
I was gonna say I thought for some reason Tuga was in Sweden, but no, they're in Germany, I believe.
Well,
That's where
he's
they're
like the
located.
king of Europe, isn't he?
Yeah,
Basically,
I guess
like-
so. Yeah,
I mean,
guys, freaking awesome. Shout out to Too Good. I know he's tuning in. No, he's not. That would be cool though. I tuned into his show. He should tune into ours. It's Gosu event though, so yeah, that's what we were talking about. So yeah, again, Team It's Gosu. Obviously, again, big congratulations to them. This was a big mark for them. Like you said, going into that DreamHack event, this is a lot of momentum for them, and they're going to be, you know, one of, if not the overall favorite for that BYOC event, no doubt. So that was that for the It's Gosu event. Moving down the list, so of course the Cooler Master event, which we've kind of touched on a little bit, but to go a little bit more full into it now, what actually happened, pulling that up on screen. If you have missed it, obviously these are the group stages. Now it did start with a qualifying event. I believe there were 64 teams that signed up in total. This is a $5,000 event hosted by Cooler Master, putting up the money, Cyber Sports Network, the one kind of organizing and help run it. It started with the qualifying event where they played the first 2 rounds, and then once they were at the round of 16, the 16 teams were placed into 4 groups of 4 teams in each. So now to kind of do a little bit of have a little bit of fun with it, we decided to do a drawing show, which I actually did on, I think that was on Saturday. Maybe that was on Sunday. But anyways, we did that show before, an hour before the matches were set to take place, so we actually did drawing for each of the groups completely at random out of our Han Tour trophy that we have. We drew it out of there. And
The greatest trophy of all
the
time.
grand prize trophy for Hunter. No, but we drew it out of there, and then that's how we got our group. So we had a lot of fun with that, and these are obviously how the groups ended up being created. And, of course, the great thing about a group stage format is talking about what do you think is a group of death, and what do you think, who do you think has an easy ride. So I figured we'd start with that before we talk about actual results. Now, when we're doing the drawing, and I think it still stands true, I personally think Group C stands to be the most difficult group out of these ones. I don't know if you guys actually have the link. I'll give it to you guys real quickly.
I was actually just about to go hunting for it.
There you go. So yeah, it's Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. For me, Group C stood out as the tough one. Team It's Gosu, AY, Black Fade, and then Link's Walkhouse.
Definitely the strong group.
Yeah, that when
Link's
we were
Walkhouse,
drawing that,
yeah.
we found that out. It was yeah, that's difficult for those guys. Link's Walkhouse, as I call him, Link's Workhouse, but formerly known as I believe that's a mix of the Clan K team as well. Actually was around,
yes.
so.
Yes, that is. I always confuse BX3 multicasters and the Clan K people. Clan K
Clan
slash
K is
Ling
Cat Lomain,
is Cat Lomain.
Yeah.
and BX3 is Mega Beaver.
Mega Beaver. That's those two. I always confuse them.
That's right, yeah.
I just keep it in terms of the guy that I know from that team, like that I speak to on a regular basis. So that's why that works for me.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, or Group C is definitely the group of death, but Group B is pretty... I don't know if it's that... Well, it's just a wild group in general. Clan Milk with the 4-0 in Group B, I think, is the standout. Just looking at this in general. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about that. We got to cast some of those games, at least seeing them 2-0 over Frey, which was huge. But seeing them 4-0 in that group, I guess that means Clan Milk is 100% moving on.
Yeah, that's
That would
yes. They
Oh,
are
yeah.
they are 100%
Awesome.
moving on, yeah.
Sweet.
As a result of that. Yeah, for me, I mean, it's a case of, now if this was 2 weeks ago we saw that, I would think, yeah, easily be Group C. But you are right. I mean, especially with the way Clan Milk's been playing recently, and obviously with the results, starting that group 4-0, playing those first 2 matches, it was against TT Esports and then Cat Died I Cried. That definitely gives it to them. But that is kind of one thing that takes it a little bit away from it, is the fact that they have that 4th team, and I don't think is that great, to be honest. I think it just so happened that they qualify for that spot. Whereas Ling's Walkhouse, at the very least, we actually do know that team somewhat, and we do know those players. But if you ask me, Fnatic Great Call got the easy group. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. That worked out very well for them, and
I really don't know. I mean, any of those teams. I think we've covered one or two of them in some amateur events or something, but yeah.
XQS, excuse me. I mean, definitely know a little bit about Alucard, but
oh, really? That's it. That's him.
Yes.
Oh,
that's our team. But other than that, yeah.
Oh,
Really nothing. So I think it's safe to say that Fnatic may have gotten a little bit easy ride in that Group D, but again, that's how it works out. So, what do you guys think of a group stage format? What do you think of the drawing and everything?
I always like drawings. It's fun.
Yeah, drawing's okay. It's all right. I think it's very fair. I think there's this weird balancing act between like really efficient tournaments and then really fair tournaments. And like MLG takes it to the one extreme. They're ultra fair. Their bracketing thing. It's so freaking complicated. I used to understand it and then I forgot, and now I can't even remember. You know, they have like a whole double elimination tournament that's like all best of 3, and then there's the groups and everybody gets combined at the end. I think that's good if you're going for like maximum fairness, but the problem with groups and tournaments like this is I think to sort of the average viewer it gets very confusing, and they don't know what's going on and they don't know what tournament they're watching, and that's sometimes a bad thing. But it's good because it means more matches to cast, which is always good as well.
That is a good point, and I do find myself as a caster, you know, one that's there to provide information that, like every single, I have to explain. This is a static 2-game series. This is not a best out of 3. Like people get so confused by that. Like, wait, if they win here, shouldn't that mean there's be a third game? No, it's a static 2-game series because of the format. So, yeah, you are right. I mean, it perhaps may be a little bit confusing from time to time with the viewers, but I like it because of the suspense that it brings, and I think it's just kind of cool. It brings a little bit more discussion overall, I think.
It can bring stories,
yeah,
and that's definitely one thing it does. I mean, much better than a single elimination tournament does.
We do like stories.
Yes. Well, we love stories. Clan Milk is writing a story right now. I can't wait to see how it ends.
Group A, Trademark Esports, Vitriolic, Saishi, so old North American, and they got Home Portal thrown in there. Now known as Fit, by the way. Panny wanted me to make that very clear. They dropped their sponsorship, so it is now known as Better Looking Than You.
So Han Portal was that one team, and then they picked up this new roster, and now they're no longer Han Portal.
I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if it's... See, I don't want to put rumors, because I like the guys at Han Portal. I think they're cool, but something's up with...
I just don't get it.
The teams and management and not working together or something. I don't know.
I mean, I haven't been doing this that long, but that team has been through so many roster changes and name changes and just can't keep... Oh, good luck. I can't keep it straight. I don't know. So Team Fit, that's who we got to look out for now.
Yeah. Homeportal.org is a solid site, though. They definitely had some cool guides and
Is there anything on it?
I just went to it right now. There is. There's update information. In fact, here, I'll put it on the screen. They got a hero teaser up and spotlight video up there. So, yeah, they actually...
I do like that recent match results thing, though I don't know who Pretty Mad Sailors is.
Well, that's A-Man, Peter Pan Dam's
Oh,
team. Yeah.
well,
one of the many names.
What is... Oh, God, this doesn't need to be so confusing.
I know, right? So much easier. yes, it is a little bit too confusing at times, but... so where do we stand, though, in these groups? So pulling that back up once again. So, and again, as you can see, obviously you got Trademark, Clan Milk, and Fnatic, all very comfortable. They are guaranteed pretty much moving on. Obviously, it's the top 2 from each group, though. So Han Portal looks like they're probably going to be that second team in the Group A as a result of them beating, or they tied Vitriolic, but then they beat Saishi 2-0. So, although, actually, hold on that. Now... That's interesting because, from my understanding, Saishi is actually forfeiting. So, since Vitriolic is set to play Saishi, that means they'll be 3-3 as a result of that, because they automatically go 2-0. Now, if Han Portal loses both games to Trademark, that would put them at 3-3 as well, and they tied against each other when they played. So, I do wonder. I guess they would just maybe play a 1-game series or something like that. I don't know how exactly it would go, but
wow.
I guess there is a possibility for a second-place tie there.
That's really fortunate for Vitriolic, the timing of Saishi's dropout.
To be fair, no, they did forfeit the first day apparently too. So Han Portal got a forfeit win over them as well. So.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind.
Yeah, it's basically 2 free wins for everyone. But so that comes down to a case of Trademark could be like, you know what, we don't want to see Vitriolic move on. Here you go, Han Portal, have a win.
Exactly. That's really interesting.
They could, if they really
wanted to.
Stories,
man. All right, this whole group thing's growing on me right here. This is nice.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what happens, man. So I doubt they're gonna do that, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Then you got Group C. Yeah, I can pull that back up. Of course, Teammates Gosu up there. Now, they've only played the 2 games. They actually still need to play Ling's Walkhouse and then, of course, Black Fae. That's going to be the big one. But that's still up in the air, I mean, especially since they've only played 2 games so far. So it's going to be fun to see how that plays out. And then, as I said, Fnatic Great Call. They've already wrapped that one up pretty much. It's just a matter who's going to get second. And XQS is going to be playing Fnatic. So very likely Flare has a really good chance of actually moving to that second-place spot. And who the hell's Flare Esports? I don't know, so...
Yeah, I will say one thing that I probably should have said earlier that Limp said to me this morning in the breakdown that I did. I asked him who his, I guess, I forget exactly how I worded it, who his biggest fear was going up against in the BYOC. And he actually said Peter Pan Dam's team. He said they're the best. He said he's most afraid of them in the open bracket over SGTY. So just to show you what Teammates Gosu is planning on preparing for, they're thinking it's going to be like a TIG A-man finals, and they're... I don't want to say they're nervous, but certainly concerned that Peter Pan Dam's team might step up to the challenge and really give them a hard time. So, I feel like I need to apologize for the last podcast that we did when I put them so low. They're definitely, I don't know. If Teammates Ghost is scared of them, then something's...
How about that? Well, you'll get a chance. You'll get a chance to redeem yourself.
Yeah. I'm trying to be a man about it here, to admit my mistakes so we can all move forward with smiles, but...
We're not going to let it. Gonna harp on it forever. We'll see how you did today. I'll say that much.
Right.
Do you even remember? You probably don't even remember where you put it.
All right, I gotta pull it up. I don't really.
And now you gotta double check. Well, we have it set, so you can't change anything. We have our own graphics set and everything. So whatever you put, you better be sure to defend yourself.
All right, I'm getting ready.
Apparently, Teammates Gosu did actually play Link's Walkhouse. It just wasn't updated. So and they won 2-0. That's what Mega Beaver's saying in chat. So.
Awesome.
So that means they're very comfortable in that first spot. And again,
I'm feeling good about my rankings, by the way, Breaky. Well,
all right.
I would. We'll talk.
We'll get there. We'll definitely get there.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, so that's the Cooler Master Tournament, and again, it is set to continue this Friday. I believe the group stages are finishing on Friday, so we'll probably have a couple matches from there. And then it continues with... Let me actually pull that schedule up from the site, just to make sure I'm right on that. Here we go. Archive. There you go. There it is. So, as you can see on the schedule right here on the CSN site, on June 9th, that is the Saturday. So Saturday, that's when the winner's bracket round of 8. Oh, it's a double elimination, really? Okay.
Really?
I'm just realizing this. Yeah, so it's a quarterfinal double elimination tournament. All right. So apparently the first... Wow, all of the rounds up until the loser bracket finals are on Saturday, and they're all best of 3. And then Sunday is the losers bracket finals, and then the grand finals after. So there's a lot of content this weekend, guys. There's plenty of content.
And it's really going to cut into my MLG time, Breaky.
I was actually not even aware that it was double. I was under the impression it was single elimination, but
this is what I'm talking about. That balancing act, it's pretty important.
Yeah, that is right. MLG Anaheim's this weekend, huh?
Yeah, there comes a point where it just gets a little too tedious. I don't know if we've crossed that line for this tournament, but there definitely is that point where...
I mean, it is if MLG wasn't this weekend, then I think it would be fun. But you are right. I mean, yeah.
Breaky's got to watch some MLG on the big screen in some years.
I guess. I'll be
Breaky heaven right there.
Have it over here, like, as I'm casting. I'll be not paying attention whatsoever. Stuff's happening, guys. Look, huh?
Oh, I'm going to have it on this whole time. This whole weekend when we're casting, man, it's going to be on the big screen. I'll be sitting here, I'm watching. I got it. Can't miss MLG Anaheim. I kind of wish if this wasn't the weekend before DreamHack, I'd probably go.
MLG Anaheim it's supposed to be the biggest, not only MLG, but I guess I'd safe to say North American event ever for esports. I don't
is
think
it really?
I don't think
just because of all the money on the line.
I guess CPL is the next thing that comes to mind when it comes to something like that, but I don't think they're.
Well, why is
It
Anaheim
depends.
bigger?
Yeah.
Because Jaedong, Flash, and Bisu are
Yeah.
going to be there.
Oh, that
That's
stuff.
a big part. And then it's E3 obviously this week, so already a lot of people are there. It's just so many things that got up. Yeah.
Am I the only one that doesn't really care about Brood War pros?
I don't.
Yes,
I mean,
you are.
well, it's intriguing to me, but I'm not like, oh my god, it's Flash. I'm not like
Yeah,
jumping out
I mean,
of my
I
seat
just-
like some people seem to be.
I just can't watch Brood War. I'm not that. I mean, I played it a little bit, but like.
Now,
I'm not gonna
now
sit
if
down and
Trixie
watch
came
it.
back to Han, I would be, oh my god, it's Trixie. But no,
Further
for Brood
enforcing the
Wars,
fanatic fanboy stereotype. Reiki, CPK.
I do to myself.
Reiki, CPK.
So yeah, but yeah, it is going to be a fun weekend, obviously. So you got plenty of coverage for you guys to watch. Obviously, we're going to be doing that here on Honcast, and that's going to be going on. So hey, get 2 streams up even. Be a lot of fun. So that's the Cooler Master event and what to expect from that. Again, the Friday is when we continue coverage for that. So a couple days from now. I think we can move on to the final thing that I just want to kind of point out, kind of give a shout out to. Not really much discussion needed, but the Clan Milk is actually they've been hosting tournaments these last couple of. Let me actually pull up the conversation real quickly. But they've been holding a lot of Han tournaments lately. You know, it's been a mix of fun tournaments, but also somewhat serious tournaments, such as this one that they got here, and pulling it up on screen now. They're actually going to be hosting. They were now given $500 from S2 Games to start sponsoring tournaments here with the prize pool with money. So they're hosting one of those actually this weekend as well. Signups are actually still available, I believe. So if you do want to go to it and sign your team up and have a chance to compete for $500, and as well as 15,000 Goblin coins on the line. So a lot of gold coins there too. But yeah, so just another note to make and give a shout out to them, because they are doing some good work over there. Hat on, the head admin, has been stepping up the game as well. So always good to see more organizations stepping up and organizing tournaments like this for the Great Heroes of Newerth game. So yeah, I mean, anything you guys wanted to say on that, or are we good? You were good.
Huzzah. Huzzah was what I had to say about it.
Yeah, huzzah.
All right.
Hopping aboard the bandwagon.
There you go. Okay, so that's that. Now we can move on to one of our first big discussions here, and well,
Let's get it on, Breaky.
the first one. Let's get it on, indeed. We got the Honcast Top 10 Community Rankings, guys, coming at you. We got our every 2 weeks, of course. We're definitely planning to do this now with DreamHack coming up. It might be a week after that, but. Anyways, that's the general idea. Every 2 weeks we get our Honcast Community Rankings. We did have our first one, finally came back after about 6-month break or something like that. We had our first one 2 weeks ago, and it was some interesting results. So now this time around, we do got a new top 10. Unfortunately, we don't have a video this time to show you. With DreamHack coming up and everything, things just got a little bit busy. So we do have a graphic, though. We got some images, though, to show you. So I figured, just like last time, we'll show the official list, and then we'll go over ours individual.
That sounds fair, Breaky.
I like that. All right, so here you go. Here is the official top 10 community rankings. This time around as well, you may notice a little bit difference in the points. Now, only 10 people ended up voting in total this time around rather than 15. Again, for whatever reason, that's just the amount of submissions I ended up getting back. But hopefully, we can step back up again in the future. But we did get 10 submissions total, and these are the points that added up. Again, it's 10th place, or first place gets 10 points, second place gets 9 points, and all the way down to 10th place, of course, getting 1 point. So, as you can see here, this is how it played out. Trademark Esports did remain in that number 1 seed, and actually very comfortable. They got 6 of the 10 first place votes, so that may be a little bit surprising. You go down the list, TT Esports second with 79 points total. No first place votes, though, for them, so... But they managed to get second. Team It's Gosu coming up from 5th to 3rd, I believe it was. Woo. Yeah, how about that? And they got 3 of the first place votes, so starting to get up there as a top team. Blackfay.org, they came in 4th place, and somebody voted them first place on their list as well. So that was interesting. Love that. Yeah, well, maybe we'll get to hear on why. But Fnatic Raid Call got 5th there. SG2Y 6th. A-Man 7th. Or no, actually, that's a tie right there. That actually should be a tie. As you can see, they both got 43 points. So both got 6th place, SG2Y and A-Man. 8th place was Clan Milk. Better Looking Than You, formerly Port Team, that's 9th place, and then Orange Esports, of course, wrapping up the top 10. So there you go. That's the official top 10 community rankings you can see in front of you. So what do you guys think? I mean, what are your guys' first reactions to that?
Awesome.
Just awesome.
Well, my honest answer, I'm desperately trying to look up past tournaments to remember why I put BXF in first place.
I did get that list, and I'm like, well, the man said it. All right.
But looking at the overall list, I don't have too many complaints. Can you tell me approximately how many people changed their positioning of Team Gosu after they got the results?
I did make it very clear in the email at the end that, like, okay, the match is tonight, guys, if you want to change it. And there were a couple that changed it.
Just like one or two, or like half?
It was... I'm actually pulling it up right now. Make sure I'm not showing my email. That'd be bad.
Ding.
Let's see. Where the hell is that email? I can't even find it anymore.
Yeah, wait, who's better looking than you?
That's Port. The Port team.
Oh, Fit. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
Confusing.
Yeah, 3 days ago. Okay, so what was the question?
How many? I'm curious how many people changed their positioning of its.
A couple people, just two.
Just
two
okay,
people ended up changing. Yeah.
I probably would have, but you know, I don't have too many complaints with this. I'm a little bit just seeing Frey and TDM that high, given their poor performance recently, just makes me. The way I picture this list is that top 4 seeding spot is really volatile. Like, all right, you're number 1 based on the week in my list, and then going down, then it's kind of fluctuates a little bit more. So seeing TDM number 1 and watching them get, you know, I mean, the finals of a $2,200 tournament, and they get 2-0'd. The first game is a 15-minute concede.
But they got to the finals.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, they did get to the finals, but that just, you know, that's the one thing that kind of jumps out at me. Having casted that game and now seeing them number 1, it's like, well, maybe their track record makes them worthy of that, but that's the one thing that I would complain about.
Yeah, it's definitely weird for me too. I mean, and again, we'll see in just a little bit, but I did have TDM actually number 1 on my list as well. So to me, I see that obviously, you know, I agree with the fact that they're number 1, but it was still a little bit difficult for me to put them number 1 because they have been, you know, seems like they've definitely been out of tune lately. But at the same time, I mean, again, with the comment that you made there, they got 2-0'd in the grand finals. They made the grand finals. I mean, right now they're 4-0 in their group in Cooler Master. So as much as we sit here and say they're spending so much time on Diablo 3. They're winning. I mean, they won the Plantronics tournament against Clan Milk. They beat them 4 games in a row. Yeah, Zuri. They beat them 4 games in a row.
My bad.
In the Plantronics tournament. So, I don't know. I personally think that people are a little overreacting a little bit in terms of how much time they actually are spending on Diablo 3 and how it's really hurting their Han play. It is. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's as extreme as some people are making it out to be. I do think that they do deserve that number 1 spot. So. You can. I mean, what do you think about the rankings overall?
I don't think they're that surprising. I think that in general you're going to see the teams that you know, everyone expects to do really well. DreamHack at the top, despite, you know, I mean, like, obviously not everyone got their email in per se about the like I don't think I took into account that it's Gosu tournament for this weekend.
Yeah.
Or else I would have ranked them
It sucks
higher.
it got pushed to Monday, because, it kind of screwed things up. Obviously, we had somewhat of a deadline to make, but, yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it was still kind of a rough list to make, so I wasn't too upset about it, you know. But, yeah, I mean, pretty much you've got your qualifiers at the top, and then everyone else below that, except for It's Gosu, of course.
Yeah, It's Gosu. That's definitely the team that jumped again. Unfortunately, weren't able to get error rolls made in here to still where they moved up and down. But It's Gosu, I believe they went from 5th to 3rd. I think that was the biggest jump overall in this top 10. So, you know, only 2 spots, but still, I mean, from 5th to 3rd, that's quite the jump. So, very deserving of it with that said. All right, so now let's kind of break it down with our individual top 10s. Let's go into this. I'm going to give you some more time to think, Yuri, so we won't start with you yet.
Oh, okay. All right. I gave up the search. Did they win a tournament recently? They have to have won something.
Black Fade? They won
Other
the
than
Dream Han.
I know that. Is that it?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Did I have too many cocktails when I filled this out? It's like, yeah, BXF, yeah, go for it. You guys throw him a fucking bone. I'm gonna keep doing recon actually. All right, Ken, I'm excited to hear about your top 10.
Xander K, we'll start with you. Okay, I'm gonna pull yours up real quickly.
Wait.
All right, so here's
you go first, Breaky. Did I just screw that up for you?
No, it's fine. It's fine. We transitioned well. Ken, you're going first. So here you go. Should be up by now for you. What were you thinking with your top?
All right. So I still have Trademark in first, of course. I think that despite their Diablo 3 exploits, I still think that they have the best chance. Can you hold on 1 second?
All right. And it needs to answer the door. Okay. Yeah. That would be funny if they were playing Diablo 2. That would be really a waste of time. I've actually thought about that, going back to Diablo 2. And just to be like how this compares to Diablo 3 again.
I heard there were some Reddit sermons up that weren't so bad, actually.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
I played Diablo 2 so much, though. But anyways.
So back to business. So yeah, I still think that they have a really great chance to, take this event. They are the team the most hype going into it. I kept Blackfade nice and high. They have still been playing very well recently. And then I put Fnatic ahead of TT Esports, or Fnatic Array, as most people know them as. And it seems like Frey hasn't played very well in the last few weeks. I see a couple losses where I don't think they should be taking them, whereas Fnatic has played fairly decently. So that's been really interesting. And then, of course, I have its Gosu next, based on them being in the final, I think is where I made that distinguish change. And then I also, SGDY is up there as well. But really, from its Gosu on, it was a very, very difficult kind of choice to make, to rank all of these teams. I think a lot of them are on similar levels, but I think I hit it pretty close. Clan Milk, I nearly put above SGTY, but I let my boy swindle. I let him sit in his in the 6th spot for another week.
Good for him. The name man home portal. Well, again, that's actually now it's FID, but yeah, and then OG Sports Malaysia. So, giving the Southeast Asian team some love at least. Good to see that, because I did too.
Absolutely,
they deserve it. Because again, we really don't know, but something tells me, man. I think that they deserve to be top 10. Hell, they qualified. The Southeast Asian region. I mean, it has more concurrent viewers, especially when they're obviously prime time is, and the international. They get up to 50, 60,000 at times. So. I mean, to be a top team from a region with that many concurrent players, it really does say something. So, yeah, all right. So that was Xander K's top 10. Anything else to say, or were you done? Didn't mean to cut you off. Okay. Breaky CPK, let's go to mine right here. I said that because I was clicking on that. I didn't. Never mind. All right. So here's one because I like to say my name in first person.
Breaky hungry.
Trademark Esports, as I stated already, definitely putting them number one. I'm a big fan of, and I know voters tend to be different from voter to voter. That's fine. That's what makes this community ranking so great. But for me personally, I like the idea of at least looking back at how they previously ranked, and a little bit further back as well. How consistent are they? I'm not a big fan of just getting into this hype of, oh, you see what this one team did this last week? They beat this team, and they need to be number 2 now because of that. So. I'm not saying that you guys do that, but I'm just saying it does happen. But so Trademark Esports, I still think very solid number 1 for me. TT Esports, I do agree with you, Ken. I do think that it does seem like lately they have been a little bit shaky with the results, and obviously with their 2-0 loss to Clan Milk in the Cooler Master event, that definitely has a lot to do with it. So, and the way that we only got to cast the second game of that, but still, I mean, Clan Milk, they dominated TT Esports. I mean, it really wasn't even that close of a game. So that was a little bit surprising, but I still think that goes back to what I said, too, of I like to take into consideration what they've done before, where they were previously placed, and I still think they're good enough to be in the number 2 spot still. It's Gosu. They have impressed me a lot lately, and I think they did deserve to jump up. So actually, it just so happened that I had them in the 3rd spot as well, where they ended up finishing on the rankings. But yeah, very impressive with the It's Gosu Invitational. Not only defeating Trademark Esports in the Grand Finals, but taking out TT Esports in the semifinals, and then Blackfade in the 1st round. So you look at my list right there, or the official list even, they defeated all three of the top 4 teams, other than them. throughout the It's Gosu Invitational. I think that's very impressive, and obviously going 4-0 so far in the Cooler Master event. So very deserving to be there. BlackFade.org follow-up. I think it pretty much explains itself. Fnatic Raycall, again, similar situation. A-Man, I've still continued to be pretty impressed with them, but they still need to get over that hump. I'm still waiting for that big victory for them in a tournament. Until then, it's finally hard to believe that they're going to be able to break into my top 5 at least. Clan Milk, I was questioning them for a while. I was unsure of where I wanted to put them. I even thought about putting them as high as number 5 because of the recent results, but I thought about it, I'm like, okay, you know what, this is kind of a new thing, so it's impressive, yes. And it's exciting because I am a fan of the team, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I believe I placed them 9th or even 10th last week, so bumping them up to 7 here. So we'll see if they keep moving. SGTY behind them, unfortunately, for Suino Melons. I see them dropping a little bit. I know that they have been through some roster changes and not going as great for them as they would like lately. So down to 8. Orange Esports 9th, and then better looking than you rounding out the top 10. So there you go. Those are my top 10, the correct ones, now that Phil's not on the show anymore. All right, Ziori, it is your chance now to explain yourself.
My turn. Well, all right, Breaky. I kind of agree with you. I think for this, it's kind of important to look at past ranks. It's not super volatile. I think that top 1, 2, 3 maybe is a little bit more so just because it's just sort of the nature of being at the top. Heard some crazy statistic one time about the GSL and StarCraft that to make it into Code S, it's like
God.
To stay in Code S 2 seasons in a row is like insane.
Yeah.
If you do that, people are buying your stock and buying your mugs, and I mean you're a new hero. So that first place, I feel like that really should cycle a little bit more frequently, which is part of the reason why I didn't put TDM up there. And I will say I did not alter mine after the finals of the Team It's Gosu not Team It's Gosu tournament, the It's Gosu Invitational of May, pardon me. But I don't know that I would have changed it anyhow, because I think TDM has a track record of enough success that, yeah, they're out of shape right now, but they're still one of the scariest teams, if not the scariest team. I don't know why I put Black Fade number 1. I think it was mostly just still all pumped up from that little streak that they did, after DreamHon, and they won. Was it the Plantronics Cup or something?
Plantronics was won by Trademark. So again, I really don't think they've won a tournament since DreamHon, unless I'm missing something.
Okay, you know what? I might have just been off on the deep.
Where would you place them? If you could revise your list?
I think they're very scary right now. I haven't seen them really since. When was the last time we saw Black Fade? It's actually been a little while, so maybe I'm totally out in left field. But looking at it now, I would probably want to put Team It's Gosu around. The top 3 is hard. I really don't know. I guess maybe it was a luck of the draw type thing. I'm stumbling around here because I'm looking at these, and it sort of makes sense. I mean, Black Fade, if it was a Black Fade TDM Best of 5 finals right now, 60 grand on the line, I have no idea who would win. I don't know who would be better suited to take it.
I definitely think that's fair to say, yeah.
So I don't have a problem with either of them at top 2 kind of interchangeably. Right now, seeing Black Fade number 1, they're scary. We haven't seen them as recently as we've seen Trademark Esports get taken out by It's Gosu. So it's easier to say, TDM, they're really slacking. I don't know if BXF is slacking right now. I haven't really seen them failing or winning recently. I mean, I guess not making it that far in the tournament is a sign that they're failing a little bit. Let's see, where were they eliminated? So they were taken out in the first round by It's
Gosu. Yeah, so it was 2-1. So.
Yeah, so maybe I would swap It's Gosu and Black Fade. I think I'm sweating now because I'm just like, crap, I'm really dropping the ball on this top 10 thing. Like, this is
digging this hole deeper and deeper, man. Get that shovel out.
I know, this is really hard. So, all right, final word here. I'm going to switch It's Gosu and Black Fade. It's Gosu number 1 this week, Black Fade number 3 under Trademark. All the others I think are a little bit straightforward, other than Frey being so low TT Esports, and that's just because just seeing them get obliterated by Team It's Gosu, it was just sort of like, wow, Frey is definitely slacking as well. They did 2-0 Orange Esports, but I don't know. I mean,
and they lost to Clan Milk.
Yeah, and they lost to Clan Milk. Yeah, that was the other thing. So Frey is just, I mean, they've been slacking. I put them under Fnatic Raid Calls, and I'm like, you know what? I know Fnatic Raid Call has been out of it, but I still think Fnatic is that scary team. They're the team that, like, they have the power. They just have to choose when to turn it on. They have the experience. They've been there. They've done that. They've won this before.
They just gotta raise their He-Man sword.
Yeah, they just gotta wake up. They gotta cook, make some coffee, and they gotta hit the gas. But I still think they're like one of those teams. They have a lot of potential energy, but right now that kinetic energy is still pretty low. So Clan Milk, still below Frey, even though they 2-0'd over Frey. That's again one of those. Frey's track record outweighs Clan Milk's recent triumphs, although Clan Milk is looking quite promising. And then the bottom four, it's just sort of went with my gut, just feeling it. SGTY, I kind of feel like I threw them a little bone there. They haven't really done anything recently. They've, in my mind, almost a lot of talk around DreamHack. They got obliterated in the finals, and now it's like, well, what you doing, Swindle? Where I guess are they going through roster changes? I mean,
My Nuts is no longer a part of their team.
Oh,
I know that.
So they have like a 4.5-man roster or something.
Yeah, they're going through some roster changes. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure if their final DreamHack roster is complete, but
yeah, I mean, if I was doing this list right now, right this second, I would probably put A-Man ahead of them. Just seeing them do a little bit better, upset Fnatic raid call makes me feel a little better about A-Man. And like I said, SG2, I mean, they got 2-0'd by TDM in the first round of its Gosu Invitational, and they haven't participated in much else. And 9 and 10, Orange Esports Malaysia, we haven't seen them too successful on the international client, but I still think that they are, as we've sort of been indicating, I still think they're kind of a wild card. We really haven't seen them in, the big arena, like you said, Breaky, in the G Arena client where there's so many people. To be the top team there, that has to say something. And
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they had some strategies that they weren't using on the international client just to keep us guessing. I don't know if that's the case, but it wouldn't surprise me if, we get to DreamHack and they're just on fire, blowing everybody up, pulling out, picking Revenant, picking Wild Heroes, mixing in that roaming/jungling Amun-Ra, and just tearing ass with it. That's certainly a viable possibility in my mind.
I mean, it happened with Frey.
Yeah,
it's very, very similar. A lot of people seem to forget that going into DreamHack winner, Frey was a very undecided team on whether or not they really were a good team. I mean, because we knew that they were a solid team. We knew they had Slicks. Other than that, it was like, who are these guys? Really, are we going to see much of them? They become the runner-up of DreamHack winner, winner, and the only team to beat Fnatic, and they did it twice. So,
So there you go. I mean, that kind of stuff can happen. Get in the zone. And, they're kind of a loose cannon. And then laying in 10th place, that 10th place slot, it could be a whole mess of teams. Ling, one thing about Ling is that they've been together for a while, and they keep showing up, and I can appreciate that, It's easy to show up when you're winning. It's hard to show up every day when you're losing, so I can appreciate their
tenacity.
Tenacity, Breaky, look at you.
I'm an English major.
There you go. Yep. So that's my top 10.
So super.
But yeah, so that's my top 10. I'm embarrassed about the BXF TIG thing. I would swap those two, but we'll see. It's a weird time to try and do this because between like the huge DreamHack tournament coming up, Diablo 3, and then just that sort of those intermediary teams, kind of like SGTY, where they were here for DreamHack and now they're kind of still here, but not really in full force. So everyone's all over the place. It's not like we're having weekly or daily tournaments where we can really see everyone playing at their max. Yeah. So, yeah, we're just going with it.
Going with the flow. Nothing wrong with that. Well, there you go, guys. Again, one last time, I'll pull up the official rankings in case you missed it. There you go. So, those are the Honcast Community Top 10 rankings, how they officially stand. And as I did say earlier as well, we will not have one in 2 weeks. It'll probably be in 3 weeks when our next one is because of DreamHack. We'll have to do it after the DreamHack. Obviously we'll be busy with that, but also it just plain makes more sense. Wait for this big event to finish and then get an understanding of where the community thinks, or at least we have vote for it, where they stand. So there you go, guys. Those are the Honcast Top 10 Community Rankings. Congratulations to all the teams. Looking forward to seeing how that advances in the future. And good stuff. All right, so that leads us into the final thing that we want to really have a discussion about here on the podcast, maybe about 20 minutes or so. This last Friday, somewhat of a big patch came out. We had the community patch, as it was labeled, and for good reason. Of course, it was a collaboration that was done with the community, as in case you did see that interview with... Well, I happen to be in it, I'm just saying. No, obviously Doc Kaiser was explaining, what the community patch really was, what the point of it was, how it was started, and the idea behind it was a lot of fun. And I actually learned a lot from it myself. I mean, apparently this has been in the works for a couple months now even, month and a half I think it was. and it means what it means. I mean, it was a community patch. The community had a lot to do with the changes that happened in this patch. That's kind of cool, knowing that they do reach out to the community and get their input and are willing to do something like this even. So, with that said, I figure we kind of go through and at least talk about the really bigger ones that kind of stand out to us, whether or not we really like it or not, and what I think about it. So,
Breaky, could you send me the link to those patch notes, please?
Yeah.
Thanks, pal.
Those Hon forms, man.
Oh, my bad. I always just look in game, to be honest. I don't have the client open.
That's all good.
Makes me lag a little bit if I leave it open in the background.
All right, so there you go. So those are the build that back up. So obviously all the changes that happen, it's definitely been. I haven't even really looked through. I would be lying if I said I did. So it's going to be fun, kind of going through this and.
Wait, you haven't looked at the patch notes?
No, I've looked. I know. I've looked at them, but I haven't gone in depth, read every single number. I mean, Bramble. Honestly, I'm not going to care about Bramble. I'm gonna be straight up with that. So.
Right, you should, because Bramble is awesome.
I haven't actually played him myself.
I don't really care about new heroes either, but
Bramble is such a badass.
Yeah.
It looks like Cthulhu with more tentacles or something. I don't know.
He's like a plant. He's got his little wiggly tentacles.
Was he changed to Legion?
Yeah, he's Legion.
He's Legion now? Okay. 'Cause I thought it was
What difference does it make? I mean, why bother changing one from Hellborn to Legion?
The story, damn it. The
lore.
lore.
The lore. Oh, it's a lore thing. Okay.
But,
yeah. I don't want to have this engineer.
He's one of Keeper's minions.
You need to play the alt avatar for Bramble, because he's got the little tentacle fingers that bounce when he walks. It's like Parasites. You know how Parasite, the alt avatar, has the little dangle things and they bounce when he walks around? It's like that, except there's 3 of them, and he has like this awesome voice. He's great. I love Spike is the alt avatar. He's like, food this way! And I'm like, you're awesome.
Alright, so, moving down the list. Let's take a look at it. We'll start with the items. We got the 3 items right there.
He's like, all right, now that you guys are done cosplaying, I'm ready to get back to podcast.
About that, yeah. All right, let's go down the list now. So, Bound Die, obviously, that was the first one. And this is kind of interesting. Can no longer carry Bound Die at any point. That, of course, referring to the courier. So you can no longer even use it on the courier. It immediately drops going to this. So dropping a Bound Die now clears ownership. And obviously a big thing about this is, and we've talked about this as being a legitimate strategy, where if you're about to die, you drop the Bound Die, and they have no choice but to destroy it, because if they pick it up, they won't be able to use it. So obviously with this change, that will prevent that. So you can no longer use this as a strategy. I don't know how I feel about. I mean, I think it was kind of cool being able to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I was just about to say, I don't know how you could disagree with this change, and then you said that.
I don't necessarily. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying I think it's cool. It's a cool strategy. It's just another thing that, if you have the mindset, if you're in that moment where you think you're about to die, being able to drop it real quickly. We pointed that out when it happened in the cast, and we thought that was a cool thing. Now that won't happen anymore. But
I think of it as kind of a Doombringer thing. When I saw those changes to Doombringer however long ago, that it can't be destroyed. Once it's in the game, it's there. There's no getting around it. I like that, and I feel like this is a change kind of on par with that. I think it makes sense. Bound Eye, it should reveal everything. It's a magical eye that let's talk about some fucking lore here, Breaky. If it's going to reveal it in my hands and all my teammates, it should.
It should work for everyone.
Yeah, and I like that it adds some risk to the Bound Eye. It's a little bit lazy. All right, we're going to swipe some wards, put it back in the base. Like, come on, man. At least if you're going to do that, now you have to run back and forth, so it actually costs you something and not farming.
Yeah, the courier changes definitely. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's the main thing for it.
I would rather it be it can't go on the courier now at all.
At all.
See, I don't like that as much. I would like it to be able to be carried but deactivated on the courier.
Well, no. The reason it's always like that. The reason is that you
can't swap it back and forth.
Yeah, it's because having a Bound Eye with the courier previous makes it totally safe. So if you want to go and scout an area, you just have a courier following you, and if something bad happens, you throw your shield on and you run away, and your Bound Eye is totally safe.
I see what you're saying.
So buying a Bound Eye is totally no risk, but now, of course, it is, because you need to make sure that you have it.
All right, let me rephrase. I don't like that if I'm Glacius and I'm in lane and I'm like, all right, we need a Bound Eye right now. I have to run back to the base. Maybe adding it as a purchasable item at the observatory might be a possibility.
Plausible. I suppose
Well,
that would be
Plausible.
a slight workaround, because that was the negative, and it's I think I asked about this, if I remember correctly, and said, well, now you can't bring it to yourself from the base, which kind of is unfortunate, but not it's more or less just a side effect of the important change, which is making it so that it's not completely unsafe.
And I do like that part, that you can't micro it around the courier. I can't really think of it, other than adding it to the observatory, man, I can't think of a good way, like it has like one delivery charge on it or something, so you can get it once and can't get it back to the courier.
That's ridiculous.
Is that too much? Did I go too far with that one?
Delivery charge.
Delivery charge.
Have to pay its postal,
Good.
have to put a stamp on it.
That'd be good. You got to pay 50
Amount
gold
of
every time you
stamps.
transfer it to the courier.
COD.
I mean, I don't know.
I do like what Mega Beaver says about the whole dropping it, and then it's not their property, so they have to destroy it. It would be more skill to drop it and destroy it yourself before you die.
Oops.
Because if you know you're going to die, then you can drop it and destroy it quickly.
It dies in one hit, right?
It dies in one hit.
I believe so, Breaky.
Yeah, that's true. That is a fair point, actually. Okay. Fine.
Fine.
God, assholes. Remember when the courier could use the hatchet?
Remember when the courier could use anything it wanted, until we started to be like, maybe
Remember
not
when Keeper
all
of the
of this
Forest
is a good idea.
had the eyes instead of his minions?
And then you're like,
And you're
I
like,
have a courier.
I'm going to buy a
Your
courier with the
hero is
hatchet,
invalid.
and Keeper of the Forest is the most useless hero in the game now. Thank you. Yeah, no. But obviously that has changed. Lots has changed in Heroes of New Earth. All right, next out, I'll keep this going here. Hellflower, duration for 5 to 4 seconds. We actually referred to this a couple times in the casting we did this weekend. Pretty big deal. It's obviously a very popular item, and this does reduce it a little bit. Now, I don't think it's a change, and I think we definitely saw that firsthand. People are going to be freaking out and be like, oh, it's so useless now, because it still is very powerful. But it's just, a change enough to say, we are paying attention, or Doc Kaiser specifically, that maybe it is a little bit too powerful. So, what do you guys think of that one?
Well, the main thing with Hellflower is that a lot of the items that were similar to it, at least in terms of like what a hero would pick up, like an int hero, that would normally pick up a sheepstick. They would, since the duration, the nerfs to sheepstick and the other things that it's gotten, it's become far more logical to just pick up a Hellflower, because you get a longer disable time, and I'm pretty sure it's less expensive. I'm kind of a derp in that
Yes.
item pricing in my brain, but yes, and that exactly what Sham says is what I'm going for, and it's a great pickup no matter what. And sheepstick used to be that item. Sheepstick used to be like, oh, you have the money for a sheepstick? Well, sheepstick's cool. Everyone likes a sheepstick, all right. But with all the nerfs, it made it not as viable in terms of the price that it was. So Hellflower became the item of choice, and it was. You want a balance between the two of them, obviously. I mean, Hellflower needs to have its place, and as Gravedigger there says, it's a great DPS item, but, Sheepstick is one of the ultimate CC items in the game, and it should be thought of as that.
I've always said that the build-up is what needs to be changed if you ultimately want to nerf the item, I think. I think the build-up is just way too efficient, way too powerful.
Very easy to build up.
With Hellflower, yeah.
I would agree with you, Breaky, except I feel like the real-life evidence doesn't support that. We see players, somewhat commonly at least, pooling their gold and then just right-clicking a Hellflower. So...
Sometimes, yeah. I don't know. Arcanas we do see a bit, too, though. So
well, the individual Arcanas, I suppose.
Arcana. And the nice thing about an Arcana, too, is that each individual one is still very helpful. Still provides quite a lot of good stuff.
That's what I'm saying. The build-up is so efficient.
Very easy.
3 Arcanas, I mean, 1 Arcana, it does a lot for any hero in the game. I mean, any hero, as you stated, can really pick up an Arcana, let alone a Hellflower, and make use of it. So
I remember the first time I played Dota and I saw that item, and I was like, wow, so if I just buy these 3 items that I kind of want individually anyway, they'll just turn into one item that's better than the sum of its parts. This item's fucking sick.
That was like me for Sacrificial Stone, or I guess it was called, I don't know what it is, I forget the Dota name now.
Bloodstone.
Bloodstone, with the Sustainer into the...
This little 12-year-old face was just like, oh my god, I get free stats now. Like, this is the best deal ever. Like, come on, check this item out. I think the problem with Hellflower, though, is in its casting range. I think the 5 to 4 seconds...
It is really far.
Is okay. and I think it's 800 units or whatever. 800 units, if I'm not totally mistaken. And that's longer than any auto attack. And I mean, you can catch people in fog sometimes if it's nighttime, especially catch people where they get hellfired from their perspective while they're fogged. They don't know what's going on, and I don't know. I feel like the thing about Hellflower that makes it so good, and I guess Sheepstick for that matter, is it prevents you from getting a shrunken head off. So if we're up against someone that has a shrunken head that's so important, generally carry heroes come to mind, you can get that Hellflower off to initiate.
Good.
Yeah, it stops the shrunken head on top of adding a 20% damage buff for 4 seconds and silencing and all that other stuff. So that stops getaways from Blink heroes, charging blades, all that, or charging strikes, all that kind of stuff. So I think the problem is in the cast radius. I think 5 to 4 seconds is a step in the right direction, and I like it, but I think it should be lowered to 600 or 700 or something from the 8.
Well, we'll have to see if this change makes it
I still think this
where
is
we want it to be.
Yeah, and you're right. That's definitely true. I still think we'll see Hellflower a lot. I don't think this change is big enough to really turn people off of it too much, but
maybe
perhaps so.
Maybe what the change should do is maybe take some people that would normally buy a Hellflower and say, well, maybe I'll buy a Sheepstick instead.
Yes, I would agree with that. If that is the outcome, then I think this change is, like I said, a step in the right direction. Is it enough? Time shall tell.
Or just get Sacrificial Stone.
Or just gets fucking Sackstone. When are we going to start seeing some Sackstones, dude?
Seriously.
Like, come on. I actually, when are we, Breaky, whenever you talk to Dog Kaiser about you saying you guys
I'm going to bring it up to him next time.
Ask him about Sackstone and ask him if he thinks it's balanced and why we don't see it. Because I'm a big fan of that item.
I'm gonna go over to his office right now, in fact. Be right back, guys.
Message in a bottle. Just chuck it over the cubicle.
Is he actually? Did he leave? I don't have the stream up. I guess he left. How about that?
I'm not actually doing that.
I really hope that he would.
He's not here, guys. Sorry.
He's not there.
Hey, he's not here. It's 6:17.
Wow,
right
that
on
was
that.
good. And I actually
Sackstone.
thought that you were going to go talk to him.
No.
I wish.
He scares me, man. He intimidates me.
He's an intimidating dude.
He is.
He is.
Just kidding. He's a lovable guy.
Hey, man, you have a Frisbee wung at your head one time, and then it's just like, scared of Dog Kaiser.
All right, so moving on, though, obviously there is a bit to talk about here, so should I give it phone a little bit here. Next item, the last item that was changed was the Pickled Brain, and a very important item, especially because of that icon of the goddess, if we do want to see Sacrificial Stone more. Ring of Sorcery, this is the big impact from the side.
This is a nerf to Sackstone. What the
Kind of is.
Just as we're talking about that, they're nerfing Sackstone. Cost increase from 900 to 1,000 gold. So, of course, Ring of Sorcery, that means it goes from 1385 to 1485. And so Ring of Sorcery, one of those items, so you see it on supporting heroes from time to time, too, pushing heroes. And this just means a little bit more time now to get that extra 100 gold to finish an item like that Ring of Sorcery. So, again, I think it's a minor change, but at the same time, is it, though? It might be a big deal, actually.
I think it's a little bit of a big deal because it's generally that rush item. Think about a Tempest in the jungle. You're going to rush to that Ring of Sorcery. So if that's going to take you another 100 gold, it's going to slow down your farming that much more, possibly force you to buy another potion for you to farm that additional 100 gold. So it sort of sets everything back because it's that first checkpoint. I actually played Tempest today in an in-house game with Nova. And I played Tempest, and I went for Ring of Sorcery first, and I was feeling it, man. My old Tempest build, I had to buy another potion. I had to use the Courier one extra time, and I didn't like it.
Something's not right here. I will say it affected me actually. I would, because this was before I happened to look at the patch, and I go to buy my Pickled Brain. I have a 900 gold. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy the Pickled Brain, finish my Ring of Sorcery, and I'm like, is something wrong? Did I misread that or something? And I realized, oh, it's 1,000. Okay, I thought, and then I checked the patch. I'm like, oh, look at that, it was changed.
Well, I'll be darned.
Well, I'll be damned. They changed it. Yeah, so that. I was pissed off to say that. No, it really wasn't that big of a deal, but it was a mid-wars game we owned anyways, like always. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to be a case of obviously, Ring of Sorcery, it's not going to see it anymore. No, it's not going to be the case. But it'll mean Keeper of the Forest. 30 seconds later, maybe you'll get it. Maybe even a minute later, depending on the spawns that he's getting. So that can add up,
That's where I'm coming from. I really think that it's a change that it adds up over time, and it's a bigger nerf than it looks. For anyone that's going to rush that item. Keeper of the Forest and Tempest are definitely the two that'll be most affected, I think.
All right, moving on. Let's start with heroes now. Heroes, I mean, Andromeda. Let's not spend time on that. It's just agility and intelligence gain. Again, I know we can't talk about it, but
Let's just go to the big
going.
ones.
So Blacksmith, that's the big one.
Is he the big one? It's not the big one. It's
I think he's the big one. I mean,
Blacksmith is
his changes are okay.
Whenever there's a change on Blacksmith, it's the big one.
I can't say I really give a shit about Blacksmith.
We did see Blacksmith in a cast this week, and I do remember you pointing it out that these changes happen. I was unaware of them, so.
Yeah, I'm on the ball, Breaky.
There you are.
Sometimes.
Increased. Okay, so the Chaotic Flames AOE increases every level now.
I think it used to be.
Wait,
what was it? How did it used to increase? Was that part of the ultimate that increased the range on Flaming Hammer? I can't remember how it used to be done.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So that's good.
Well, it still does. It says with Chaotic Flames.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
right.
it just scales differently then. I don't know what the previous one was, but I'm guessing that's what that means.
CC.
Earlier levels of Fireball, more damage, 25 more damage at the 1, 2, and 3. Cool. Okay, yeah, I don't know why we're spending time on this. Okay, so Chronos.
Why? Blacksmith is awesome.
Let's go to this Chronos Emporium. That seems kind of somewhat important.
You skip over Blitz? Why you skip Blitz?
Blitz isn't. I'm thinking competitive. Okay.
Okay, you're skipping
Ken, you take the lead. What are
The
we talking
cooldown
about?
went down 50 seconds at level 1.
That's a lot of seconds. That is.
I've never played
many
Blitz.
I never played
seconds.
Blitz either.
Blitz.
Okay, his
I don't know what
ultimate
she
is
does.
his ultimate is actually fairly strong. I mean, it brings you down to it does decent damage and brings you down to 100 movement speed and everyone in a pretty wide area. Then you can add on the stun on top of it, which does damage based on movement speed difference. So it's actually quite a lot of damage. Obviously, you know, it's a hero that we won't see in competitive for some time because it's in tournament mode. It's not in tournament mode, that is. At least I don't think it is. So that, but it still is a really interesting change because I think that hero needed something, and that helps for sure.
I did play him once. I have played him once. I do remember actually. It was very
He
interesting.
says Sonic
playing him.
Boom.
Yeah.
Isn't Blitz the hero that's kind of like the one that can run away but
All
can't
about
really do anything
speed.
else?
Yeah. Well, you steal their speed or something.
His his W is a speed leech, which I kind of only use after I've done all my other things when I play that hero. He has that speed boost, then he has the ability
That's
that
what I
stuns
maxed
and
out
does
first.
damage based on. No, don't do that. And then does damage based on how much
I'm making
of a
a
difference
guide
your
right
movement
now.
speed is. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, move on because apparently.
Yes, let's
apparently,
move on.
Apparently, yep.
Apparently. Do we need to talk about Bramble, Ken?
No, we don't need to
Okay.
talk about it.
Good Chronos.
Fixes are not applicable.
That's kind of interesting with
Yeah, stop
Chronos.
using Blitz as carry, please.
Obviously, the agility gain is very minimal, but the damage increase from Curse of Ages is increased slightly, but physical to magic. That's interesting. So
I really thought it was magic that whole time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I
guess
No.
I never thought that.
I always assumed it was magic, but I never looked, I suppose.
Yeah,
Is that a nerf or a buff switching it to magic? I'm not sure.
that feels like it's a nerf to me. But
Well, the thing is it does a lot more damage at early levels. It goes from 15 to 40. And in an early level, that makes
I guess
it-
early level.
That's true, Ken.
What does chat say?
What does chat say?
What does
They're
chat say?
talking about 1v1ing a succubus.
They are.
It's not quite on par with what we're talking about.
Like
I don't know.
Chronos,
I don't think. I don't think it will do. I don't think it'll do that much for Chronos personally. I think that.
I don't know.
All right, we
Yeah.
can move on.
Oh yeah, no damage versus BKB. That would be the problem. See, Mega Beaver always with.
That's very true. Yeah, I was thinking.
No,
I was
extra-
Mystic
I mean,
Vestments.
70 damage certainly.
Oh, all right. Bash won't interrupt through BKB anymore. All right, that's something. That's something.
That makes sense.
Well, no, the damage is.
Well, the stun will still
That
happen.
does not mean the stun is.
Yeah.
Will the stun still happen?
Is
Through
the
Shrunken
stun
Head?
magical
No.
or is the stun physical? That's very important.
That's what I'm getting at here.
I have not tried. I couldn't tell you.
Kaiser.
So all right. So I got to give Nick some props here. Apparently, this is the
Stun is still physical. Yes, it goes through.
Yes, it does. Chat's
So-
gonna
okay.
do for us.
Okay. All right. So then it's really not a huge changes. I guess it's
Imagine-
just
Imagine the opposite or the opposite of pestilence stun.
I mean, you do have less magic armor, or no, less armor early on, and then later on having it be magic damage, I guess, helps. So I guess it's a nerf. I don't know, whatever. It's not a big change. I don't think it's going to influence the amount that we see.
To reiterate this, yeah, which is never. But to reiterate this, Doc Kaiser is going to become, again, we're planning a podcast with Doc Kaiser tomorrow at, actually 24 hours from now, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So planning to have him on, and we are going to, discuss most of the changes, if not all of them, if you have the time for it, and we're going to give his take and his opinion on what's the reason for it. So tomorrow, I'm sure we'll get a definitive answer on why that.
Wasn't there a video where he talked about a little bit of it? You guys made that announcement video?
We did make that a video, the interview video. He only went over, I think, 4 or 5 things, though. He didn't go over everything, obviously. So he went over the items that we talked about, and he also went over Pebbles and Valkyrie, I think. So, but not Chronicles.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Moving down the list, though. Okay, so Cthulhu-Fawn. I mean, obviously that's a hero we see quite a bit. So base damage was lowered, and base intelligence lowered as well from 20 to 18. So. I could definitely see that intelligence nerf hurting him a tad. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, of course, but obviously using that trample quite often early on, and that on top of the hook'em ability, maybe that'll reduce that a bit. So.
I think he's becoming a lot better at this point, a lot more consistent of a hero. I thought that he was still pretty good after the E nerf, but I think now he might just be pretty much in line. I don't think there's anything about Cthulhu that I'm really like, oh well, at this point.
Me neither. I think he's a strong hero.
And I still like him too.
Yeah, I think he's a strong hero, but I would agree. I think he's pretty well balanced. I mean, that's. I have no problem with Cthulhu. I think he's good. I'm a fan in general of the little tweaks. And in this patch, we see a lot of stat gain changes. Whenever you see like an intelligence change on a strength hero or something, I like that. Those are those little tweaks that don't force us to change our metagame, but it has an influence. Those are the things. So that's when I first saw this patch and I looked at it, and there's like Gauntlet, just changing his strength gain per level. I love seeing those changes because they're so small that it's easy to look over, but they do have an influence on the game. And I think that making a lot of small changes is a better way to go with kind of balancing than making very seldom huge changes that change the game. That's one thing in Dota that is certainly true. I mean, sometimes Ice Frog will just throw something in, just like that courier change that they have now. I don't know how the Dota courier works, but it's not like Han.
The Dota courier changes were like, whatever, bro. We'll just
that's what I mean. That's just like, oh, you like your metagame? Well, how about we just try a new one? That's a big. I mean, that's a big change. So I'm just saying that now that I really like all these ones that we'll probably skip over if you haven't looked at the patch notes, like Gauntlet, and there's a lot of singleton ones like that. I think that's a good way to go. So I don't know if that's like a thing that Dog Kaiser likes, or if that was something the community liked, but either way, I think that's really a good way to go about balance. Props.
Yeah, I agree. Defiler, again, move speed of spirits increased at the 2nd and 3rd level. That's cool and all. Demented Shaman. Now this is actually a pretty big one, and
yes,
it's one that really stood out to me. As when I saw this, I kid you not, I went up to Doc Kaiser. I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, Doc Kaiser?" No.
Did you? I hope not.
I
love Demented Shaman, and I thought this was a good change.
I love Demented Shaman, and this does hurt him quite a bit at those earlier levels. So it does. I mean, you can't.
Oh well, yeah, it hurts him, but like.
I guess I can kind of I do get why. I understand, but yeah, maybe it's just one of those butthurt moment type things. And again, I like the hero, but that's quite the change that we do not see Unbreakable as often now. You can't spam it in the landing phase, and I don't even think that necessarily was the case. I mean, really, was it? Did we see Demented Shamans using it every 15 seconds? So I guess in that sense,
the thing is that you could level it once and have it be up pretty much all the time, and it's a huge damage buff, especially if you put additional levels into it, and it's a free save yourself from death. It just made it so that you didn't need to like totally crazy max it and still be effective. And now if you want to be really effective with it, you need to max it or put more points into it. So it changes how his early game leveling goes with his skill build.
Yeah.
Which I like very much so.
Yeah. That's true. You actually do bring up a very good point. That's very true, actually. And you know what? Okay. I see it a little bit more
Okay.
now.
All right.
All right. You know
I
what?
see. All right.
You know, I'm a little bit more accepting of it now.
Yep.
Okay. Ziori, I mean, anything before we move on?
You skipped Defiler. I hate you.
Oh, wait, I mentioned it. What you want to go in depth about Defiler? Come on.
I'm just joking.
Talk about Sackstone.
I'm just
When
kidding.
Sackstone gets buffed,
Just
Defiler
kidding.
will be back. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else. The Vintage Shaman, it is what you guys kind of covered. It's pretty straightforward. It's just one of those things. I don't know. That's a big change, but I still saw the Demented Shaman banned a bit. I really don't have much else to add that's notable.
Well, he's still a strong hero,
Yeah. Oh, exactly. That's
even with just Entangle and Heal.
Yeah, this is one, maybe, yeah, it's a big change, and maybe at first people are going to be like, oh, yeah, forget about Demented Shaman, but that doesn't change what makes him a great support. He still scales very well, still has very useful abilities early on. Like you said, even without Unbreakable, he's still a ridiculously good hero. So, yeah,
Yep.
it's okay.
Glacial Downpour
Onwards.
was adjusted.
Gracious. Adjusted. A 200 mana cost increase is
Okay.
adjusted.
Pretty nerfed, yeah. Mana cost definitely increased quite a bit, all the way to 200 mana, as you said, from at the level 3. So, Glacial Downpour, a little bit more expensive. Again, I don't see this as a... Even though, for how little we see Glacial Downpour, let's be honest. But no, I'll stay away from that. I mean, we do
Glacial
see it quite a
Downpour
bit, actually.
is incredible.
But is this really going to make a difference in us not seeing it? I don't think so. I think Glacius is very mana efficient already, especially with Azara on top of that. So I don't see this as a... And maybe that's more reason to make this nerf. So yeah, I don't see it being a big deal. I still think he's going to be played all the time, and not many people were picking him up for Glacial Downpour in the first place, anyway. So.
Well, I mean, you don't pick him up for that, but the fact that he has that ridiculously good offensive spell really is really nice. And penalizing him for using it is probably a good thing, considering he is supposed to be such a good, like, CC style support hero.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously Glacial Downpour provides amazing CC as well, because that slow is so freaking brutal. But 400 mana is like, you have to make a conscious decision to use that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really hurts him when he does. So, and this, yes, exactly. Slow goes to the BKB.
Why don't we have Shams on the podcast?
Because Shams is providing our little our bottom line updates.
He's the guy that's in chat, saying things, and I'll take that for myself. Yes, and it also slows through BKB. Ken, did you know that?
I already said that.
He's like Red Shirt Kid from that. What was it?
Whoa.
Was it BlizzCon like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the books, there was this guy and it
remember
said
that.
that he was this, and then
Talking
he was
about the
here,
lore.
but not
And
here.
then he
What
was
happened?
dead.
And
And
the
the
guys
devs
were
just
like-
straight up,
I
I'm
love
sorry.
the devs are like,
And then they actually put him there.
where did that guy go?
In the private servers or whatever, they actually put him in the game. There was a screenshot of that on MMO. I remember that.
Yeah,
that was good.
funny. That guy-
Moving on. Hellbringer. Now, this was actually one that I wanted to definitely... Hellbringer's a hero that, God, he just went away. I mean, he went from perma-ban to top pick priority to just nothing. I mean, he just completely disappeared, and obviously a big part of that was because of the Death Boil change that initially happened. Now, obviously this doesn't revert it by any means, but... Or, it doesn't, right? Am I wrong on that? This isn't what it used to be, was it?
That is a revert.
That is a revert. Wow, yeah, now I'm looking at him. Okay. Well, there
He's
you
like,
go.
"This looks familiar."
Well,
Freaky scene before.
so yeah, damage per tick increased by 5 damage. So it's now, well, as you can see the numbers right there, increased at each level. That's
Is that really the change that got Hellbringer like out of the competitive scene?
It was one of them. It was a major part. I know.
It's a coupling of things. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta remember, like, heroes like Chipper, which I don't think has gotten any major changes, really. Not that I can remember, but like, he's not in the competitive scene anymore because of the way that the metagame shifted, and his laning situation just wasn't viable anymore. Same situation for Hellbringer.
Okay, that's a good analogy. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I saw this, I didn't realize this was a revert. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's nice. I mean, that's good, but I don't think that's gonna like bring back Hellbringer.
His Death Boil definitely got nerfed, but he was still used after that Death Boil nerf. I do remember that, but yeah, the Death Boil was the one that really put it over the edge, and big part of why we didn't see him. So This does make me wonder, though. But I think you're right, though, Ken. You know, especially even though nowadays, with where we see so many laning phases and whatnot, it seems like when we do have those solo heroes, it is more about those aggressive getaway heroes. You know, your Bubbles, your Valkyrie, your Wretched Hag. Obviously, you know, Hellbringer doesn't have that. So now his ultimate still remains. It's fucking Malphus. I mean, come on. So I would like teams to.
I would love to see that.
I would like teams to start using him again and seeing Malphus come out, because Malphus is pretty damn awesome. Does make me wonder after this change, maybe.
Yep. We'll see.
Jeraziah, we actually brought this up too, I remember, in our casting.
It's a good change, Tim.
Protective Charm, cooldown increase from 20 to 24, so with the duration being 16 seconds at max level, this means instead of 4-second downtime, you now have an 8-second downtime in between. So, and then the rescript, I don't think that necessarily really changes anything, that's just a rescript, but
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree, and I always did find that interesting how it just increased your armor by 1,000. Yeah, why not just make it immune to everything?
The only change is that I have seen at least once or twice where if Jeraziah ults when someone's at like, you know, singleton digit hit points, like 9 hit points, damage will still go through that 1,000 armor. So like 1 or 2 damage will come through. So this totally stops that. It's a 100% invulnerable. So that rare occasion it will prevent
neither a nerf nor a buff.
Yeah, it's just sort of
it's more of a fix, if anything. Like
yeah, exactly. That's really what it is. So that's like the one scenario where it could have a difference. But I mean, I think I might have seen that like once in a like 1400 game. You know, I mean, that's not like a big thing that happens. So.
But I really like the Jeraziah change for the Protective Charm. I mean, a lot of the things that that came in the community patch are things that are more. Like, obviously there are some major changes, some things that are nerfs and some things that are buffs, but a lot of things are just kind of realignments in terms of just being like, well, like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Why is it not like this? And it's like, oh, well, I guess it should be. That would make a lot of sense. Like the Soul's Blessing thing. Like, a lot of these, you see a lot of these changes are to the little 0.5 numbers. And that's for a reason. That's because it's like, well, why is it like this? It makes it more confusing, and so it's moved over. But I think Protective Charm is just another thing that it's like, doesn't have very much downtime. It makes a lot of sense to bring it to have a little bit more, so he's just a little bit weaker.
Yep.
Well said. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there.
Well done, Ken.
Matt is a
linguist.
You gotta go to Madame Kinesis, as the new one is.
Xander K. Kinesis, take it over.
Kinesis. So Kinesis lost some int gain per level, down from 3 to 2.7, which is obviously pretty big. In addition, it has a slight change to the way his static smash works, which is his Q ability. So now you can actually activate it early and have them drop, and the damage and the stun is proportional to the amount of time it's up there. So if you need to drop him immediately to land a stun on somebody, you can, if you want to. So that's really cool. So if you lift somebody, you can immediately drop them and like set up a situation where you can land a better ultimate and things like that. And then his slow for his telekinetic control, which is his W and E split ability, was reduced at early levels. Really the reason behind that is that it's a really powerful slow, 25% at level 1 with that kind of range. And, you know, Kinesis actually has remarkably good laning presence, just because you have a lot of lane control if you're really smart about it. Like simple things like the most basic of things that I do is I lift my own range creep and throw it at their range creep. If it's near their tower, the tower kills the range creep, and then the lane pushes.
I was always under the impression that Q actually already did that, but that is interesting that they changed it so you got more control now. Obviously, he did take nerfs, as you said, the intellect gain and the slow, but still. Having more control will be kind of cool, I would think. For Kinesis. Ziora, you look lost.
Kinesis, I have Blitz syndrome, man. I've never played Kinesis.
Oh, you
I've never
have
seen
to play
Kinesis.
Kinesis.
I mean, he's one of these heroes that I get that I probably should know him and should be real excited about spotlights, but I mean, Nick and I still miss the occasional thing about competitive heroes that we see every day. You know, like that whole thing about, all right, so whose ult actually goes through Shrunken Head, the whole Parasite and Bubbles thing. You know, so we're still trying to like lock down information like that. I don't have brain space for Kinesis right now. I never see her. No one even plays her in pub games. It's just like one of those things. Is she even in tournament mode?
I don't think he is yet.
He, she,
No,
what is it? I don't even
He's
know.
not. No.
For the record, by the way, Bubbles' ultimate does not stun you out of BKB. Parasite the silence will affect you, but the damage will not.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
We did
Breaky
test
tested it, so we know. 100%.
Anyway.
On that note, okay.
So, interesting changes to Kinesis, but obviously not that effective in the competitive scene since he's not in it.
There you go. Kraken. Releasing the Kraken. Yes.
Before we get too far into Kraken, what happened to him? He used to be like the staple of the competitive scene, and now I don't even remember the last time we casted a Kraken. Like, what happened to him? Where'd he go?
Stopped using him.
Yeah, I mean, he has died off a lot.
He got replaced by Meraxis.
I think it definitely is a case of heroes coming up and just being more, better for the job. Your Cthulhu, your Meraxis, your Armadon just seem to fit that role a little bit better for the lineups and the teams. I don't think it's necessarily anything that was changed to him. I know his splash did get nerfed, but yeah. So, but this change here, I mean, release the Kraken. No longer superior magic on the Poland stun. I do find that actually pretty interesting, and obviously with this means now if you have a shrunken head,
need it.
It is. I will say it is kind of an odd change in that sense. I mean, you are right, but if you have a shrunken head, you will.
I'm not a fan.
You will not be stunned.
I don't like it. This is sour lemons. This is. I mean, Why was Kraken's ult like broken for interrupting people through shrunken head? I mean, I've never encountered that and just been like, oh man, yeah, they picked up Kraken to stop this Tempest once he gets a shrunken head. I mean, it just
again, does he really need that?
You mean, does he need it
really
to be a good hero?
That important to him to have his ultimate middle part, which you hit only on certain occasions?
I feel it's a very
stop a channeling. It's just really just not that important.
I mean, I feel like I've seen him interrupt something once. I mean,
again,
it can happen, sure.
Yeah, I mean it could. But again, the point, like some of the nice things about this patch and what it does is that it's things that are like, okay, why does it do that? Like, why does Jereziah's thing give 1,000 armor instead of just making him invulnerable? And it's like, well,
I mean, I don't know. I never really questioned it. I felt it fit into the lore. He's a Kraken. He releases the mighty Kraken. It interrupts
and then
through
it pulls people in.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems sort of with a hero we don't even see him anyway. So it's just I don't know. I don't like it. I buff Kraken. I like Kraken. I'm a Kraken fan.
Bring the old Kraken ultimate back. Because ultimate what
No.
Here.
I want to see the old Kraken ultimate back. Damn it.
I said that to. I was just like, why don't we have the Kraken ultimate? I forget who I said it to.
Were you even around, Zori, when he had that? I think you've actually asked that before.
Yeah, well, see. The thing is, I've always played Han, even though I didn't pay attention to the competitive scene. It's not like that was always my art. I cast StarCraft, but if it's a Saturday night and I have nothing to do, when I have a few beers, I'm gonna play a few games of Han. So I've been around through a lot of the changes. I remember that Kraken ulti like yesterday, man. That thing was. That was some fun.
It was,
that was good
just
stuff.
it was just such a unique ultimate. You could troll people so hardcore with it.
Yeah. The only problem was you could be like, you're attacking my base tower? No, you're in my fountain.
No, now you're dead.
you're in the fountain.
No big deal. Portal key, OP item on Kraken ultimate. Yeah. Moving on the list. Magmus. Is that, that's something.
It's not.
No, not really. Yeah, just a
the
radius
Magnus
reduced.
change was one that people were like, why Magnus change? Is again a thing where it's like, well, why is it like this? Because the old one went 50 points, 50 points, and then 150 points. Why? So now it's 50, 50, 50.
Okay, I can feel you. I mean, you're right. It doesn't make any sense. Looking at those numbers, 50, 50, 150. Okay, I'm with it. I'm down with that Magnus change. You make a good case, Andrew K.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Ophelia's Judgment, now a purgeable buff.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Do you know what that means, Ken?
Text dog guy.
Not off the top of my head.
Shams, what does it mean?
I think
I have an amusing situation.
I have a theory. Do you want to hear me out? So when Ophelia casts it on somebody, it takes a couple seconds for it to do it. So it's not like an instant all right, you're home, buddy. It takes what, 2 seconds? So now Electrician or a Nullfire Blade, if you see Ophelia casting that spell that has no animation, now you can Nullfire Blade it off before the spell ends. In which time you wouldn't know anyway because the hero just disappears.
I like how I had to See, okay, this is the funny thing.
The question is, because this is what I thought it was, and I was like, I wonder. The question is can you parasite steal it and then go back to their base?
Whoa. Jesus, Ken. I would hope so now that it's a purgeable buff. I mean, I don't know.
Huh.
You took it to the next level, man. It's like baseception.
Yep.
See, the funny thing is, and I feel like a complete derp, not that it's unnatural or anything, but I actually I assume this was the command ability. When I'm on Judgment, I'm like, oh, that's a command ability. What? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, but yeah, now that it's Ophelia's Judgment, that makes a lot more sense. So.
Oh gosh, dude. Okay, yeah.
That's a very interesting point though with Parasite. That actually
That
does make me
is.
wonder.
That is.
You know, the
Better test that in practice mode right now. I mean, I don't know. My beef with Ophelia's Judgment is that it doesn't have a big graphic.
I agree with you there.
That spell needs, when someone ports back to the well, you need to blow up, you need to be glittery, you need to be something, I mean, you need to do something, because like it's so disorienting for casters and players when you're just like in a fight and all of a sudden you're just like, my hero disappeared. I mean, every time it happens, I think it was like, alright, Armadon's been killed, and I'm like, wait a second. Armadon's still alive.
I love people that get pissed off at me because I actually play Ophelia in Mid Wars, and I'll like send them back right before they're about to die, and they'll be like, "What the fuck? Why'd you do that, asshole?" And I have to sit back in the well and regen. I'm like, I saved you, didn't I? I don't know. I thought that was a good idea.
You're bad.
Breaky CPK for the rescue.
I actually am going to go and test the Ophelia.
That is interesting. Okay, moving down the list, though. Obviously, yeah, we got about maybe 10, 15 minutes here. Pebbles, another one. Now, this was actually interesting. This is a large, of course, so it's ultimate. The base attack time increased from 1.7 to 1.9, and then so on, 2.1, 2.3. Attack speed is no longer slowed. So, yeah, how about that?
Do I need to tell you why that's cool?
Well, it has to do with items being less efficient.
Yes, it means that attack speed items are less efficient on Pebbles.
Yeah.
That is what happens.
So, like Demonic Breastplate won't be...
Precisely, is not nearly as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
But it is a buff in the short term, so it makes him better in the early game, but worse in the late game.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can, your ult doesn't cripple you as much, but once you get those huge items, you're not, like, hitting for 4,000 every
hit, which is very quickly.
Yeah.
But you can still do the goofy stuff like what I do in Mid-Wars with Pebbles, and that is buy Rift Shards and Shroud and crit people for 16k. Or 1,600. Not 16.
16,000.
That would be great. Lol, one shot.
This isn't Diablo 3's Xander K. What you thinking?
Anyway.
Alright. Means
Like,
we're going to see
Ricky
more...
said, we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, okay.
And I got to test this quick before
All right.
finishes. We still have a few more awesome changes we have to talk about.
Yeah, Plague Rider,
Contagion.
sure. Mention it, yeah.
It
Contagion
makes
slow duration.
it's a big difference in that early game.
Yeah, it is. That you're right. It definitely is. I mean, and the intelligence gain and the strength gain being reduced or increased. Oh wow, I thought it was going to be reduced, but no, increased on those. But yeah, the contagion slow, as you said, it makes him lesser, useful in that sense in the early game. But I don't think that's I don't think you pick a Plague Rider for his slow. I think that's the best way to put it. I think Extinguish is definitely what makes him great, and then of course his armor eventually, and then the Plague Goo. I mean, all around very good hero. So I don't think that's necessarily too big of a change. Rhapsody, that's actually quite a bit. Rhapsody right there, but yeah, not too much.
Means you can't spam her dance floor as much anymore. Still does the same damage, but she doesn't have as much mana to just be like, I'm gonna heal you and heal my creeps and stuff like that.
What do you mean her intelligence was increased though? From 25 to 28.
Yeah. I'm reading the reduced one right below it like a derp, so she now can spam it more.
Yeah, you confused me there. Okay.
Well, because it did get nerfed, so that actually makes a lot more sense. I was gonna say I don't remember it being really that good, but whatever. Oh well.
The change we all wanted to talk about though.
Yes.
It's coming. Scout! It's about time we see some changes on Scout. So Disarm. So rebalance, so it now has a cooldown of 20, 16, 12, and 8 seconds that removes 1 second on attack. Disarm now lasts 2 seconds instead of 1. Huh.
Yep.
Marksman shot not get vision on the target. Ken, what does that mean?
What? What am I doing?
Well, no. What about this change? I mean, that is interesting.
This change means that you will always get a disarm proc coming out of stealth.
Okay.
The first hit will always 100%. Well, I mean, obviously, if the cooldown's not down, but you will always get a disarm proc coming out of stealth, which means that if you do fun things like Shroud, you hit people really, really hard, and you can also do. You also have to take into account the attack speed increase when you come out of stealth. So you hit, and you knock seconds off of that time as well. So it's a really low cooldown at level 4 coming out, and it can be really effective because you can then guarantee when you're going to get disarms, which is really cool.
So this is like one of those, who was a Legionnaire that they just rebalanced to make it a little more like, less RNG style, to make it more predictable, I suppose. Is that sort of the same thing here?
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. That's fair. Huh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's less proc-based and more, I mean, kind of like Kraken Splash, how it's every attack more so than every... Well, it still is. That's a weird change. I guess it's a buff, right?
Yeah, it's definitely.
People will see it as a nerf, but I think that it's probably.
And if it's really just one of those changes, you kind of have to play with it. I think ultimately too. It's like to really get a feel of it. But yeah, that's good news. We see more scout play now. That's always good news. We can hear that. So.
You really like scout Reiki?
Shadowblade. Wow.
Cool.
I'm actually
this
just
is one of my favorite
I am
changes,
just
actually.
reading this right now, and holy crap! Crap of 40
wacky
stats
crap.
removed. I always found that to be a hindrance on Shadowblade. You know, when I actually played him quite a bit when he did first come out because I was a fan of the concept. But you know, having that max at 40 seemed to be a little bit annoying, especially in that later game. But no longer capped at 40, so he can. Huh. That's going to be something. If we can get some teammates that, or I guess the opposition for that matter, it doesn't even need to be teammates, can be pretty massive in any category.
I mean, you remember, he can cast it on himself as well.
True, so yeah. Wow.
So if you do what the fun thing to do with Shadowblade previously was, and that was go Harkon's Blade and stack a lot of intelligence, and then have like a 40 int buff, and then go into your inform and be like, I do ridiculous damage.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of insane. So
yeah, I see Devour Shadowblade, and that's something I was thinking too. Like I like to see the thing with Shadow. I like to think strength because. You could just get massive tank build on him too. Obviously, I know Intellect's a very popular build for damage for that focus, but that's the great thing about the hero in general. I mean, you can switch forms in battle even and throughout the game, and you can play different ways. But yeah, that could be fun. That's actually really cool seeing that they lifted that. So I might actually play some Shadowblade now because of that change, and you know maybe we'll see him on the competitive scene because of this change. No, probably not. We can ask Trout what he thinks.
People have actually tried to play. I know that some people have tried to try out Shadowblade, and I think that this might encourage people to do so. The cool thing about Shadowblade is I think that you can actually, you probably could do this and plan out a lineup that would benefit Shadowblade. So if you know you have a hero that's going to be you know, stacking a lot of int or stacking a lot of strength, you know, that kind of tanky hero, he can benefit from that and definitely use his essence shift to really good effect.
All right, moving on. So they're not so much. Succubus. Succubus is
damage increase at levels.
damage increase at all levels. So yeah, it's cool. Her movement
and
speed
movement
slightly
speed
increased.
Is really nice.
See, I feel like Succubus, the last time we saw Buff on her too, I personally, I know a lot of other people were like, you know, maybe we'll start seeing her every now and then. I mean, I believe it was the attack range and even the base damage was increased. Like her presence in the lane actually got a little bit stronger, but still, you know, we just don't see her. I just think, you know, it's just a hero simply put, and her smite was also changed, obviously, where it reduces all forms of damage.
Really good.
Yeah, rather than just the straight up. But anyways, yeah, I don't think that this is enough to start seeing her now if we haven't already. So it's kind of unfortunate,
Agreed.
but it is a buff for her. So definitely start using her more. Tempest. A lot of numbers changes in there. So his elementals, attack damage reduced at each of the levels, as you can see. It's actually just a base number, no longer a spread like heroes. So it's 20, 27, 34, 41 straight up. So that's actually, I see that as a buff, actually. I mean,
it's an early game buff, a late game nerf.
Consistent. Yeah, that's actually true. And I'm looking at the exact numbers. Yeah.
Level 1 buff, level 7 nerf, however you want to look at it. It's not
I
really
guess
a late game
yeah,
thing.
it's a very early buff, but yeah, you're right.
It's not too bad.
And then the ultimate actually had a bit of changes too. Interesting. So reveal radius reduced quite a bit actually. Clear vision radius changed, and then outer damage radius lowered from 500 to 400. Oh, so outer damage radius. Does that mean? It doesn't mean the radius of the ability as a whole, does it? Does that mean the actual Tempest Ultimate is actually smaller now as far as radius goes? Am I mistaken on that?
The clear vision radius.
No, the third one. The third one. The outer damage radius lowered from 500 to 400.
No.
It's different damages depending on how far away you are from the center.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah, well, okay.
the furthest one out now, that radius is... no, I see what Breaky's saying. So closing that radius means 400 units less are going to take damage. I would imagine it still has the same effect 500 units out, and it's just if you're in that very outer edge, you just don't take any damage.
Okay, that makes more sense then, yeah.
That's how I would...
Yeah, I knew it does more damage, but yeah, I was like, holy crap, are they actually they nerfed the freaking radius of the ability? That's actually huge. But
I feel like it would say that here.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
so big.
Yeah. So yeah, Tempest getting some nerfs there. Like I said, especially with the minions as the later levels go. Now Valkyrie, she was the next one in line. This was and this during the interview I did get the chance to what? I'm sorry.
It's hard to test when everything counts as an allied unit.
Oh, you're trying to test the parasite thing.
That's frustrating.
So Valkyrie, now the Javelin or Javelin ability, actually, the stun increments change from 150 units at all levels to 225, 200, 175, 150. That means that it is much harder to get a full 5-second arrow at lower levels of the ability. So yeah, that's interesting. You even got to see that in the video a little bit too. So
I really like this change.
Yeah, making it more of a skill shot even.
Yeah, I think this is a really good change. It limits Valkyrie's kind of bloodlust potential to make her on par with everyone else instead of having this imba like, well, within a 5-second stun at level 1, pretty good chance for getting a bloodlust. I think this is a good change. I think this is a really interesting one where this particular skill has a very specific mechanic that we all kind of didn't understand exactly how it worked with numbers until this. I like it. I think it's a very appropriate change and not one that I ever would have proposed. I never would have been like, man, that Valkyrie arrow is broken. But now that I see it, I'm like, wow, that does make more sense. It becomes better as you level it up. It kind of discourages that 4-1-4 style of build, or 4-4-1, I guess. Whatever. You know what I'm getting at here. What are you giggling at, Ken? Spitting all over your monitor. Look at you.
I see this kind of like a behemoth change almost when the fissure stun change happened initially, and I say that because they're similar in the sense that these are very old school heroes, obviously, and obviously you think all the way back to Dota. Both Valkyrie and Behemoth come from Dota, original Dota, even like very old school. So to make changes to them, it can be sensitive to a lot of the crowd, but. I also think, I'm agreeing with it, and I definitely see why the change happened, and I do like the idea of, again, making it even more of a skill shot in that sense, as well, with the Javelin at those early levels, so.
Big fan.
I don't think this is a change that, I do see some people in chat like, oh, we're never going to see her anymore, because, no, really,
You'll
come
still
on.
see her.
No, she still is a very dominant side lane hero, solo hero, and a great semi-carry for your team, so. Don't think losing a little bit of time on the arrow, stun time on the arrow earlier on in the levels is going to be the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, so. But you do got to be careful when making changes to these heroes. I guess is the point that I was bringing up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. But wow, the terrain has been improved in OpenGL. That's pretty cool, also.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is, man. Those like 10 Linux players out there.
Report.
That's awesome.
I have a report.
A report.
Yes.
What is that? Oh, about the parasite?
The report is that it is a purgeable buff, but you cannot steal it. So sad. It does work with Nullfire.
See, you can still
purge it with the Nullifier. That works.
You can still judgment your own creep though, and have Parasite take it over, and then have him sent back to your base because of that, and then kill him, which is funny. But yeah,
Get on it, Ken.
you cannot actually take it. No, we've seen that before. It's actually pretty hilarious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where if you judge your creep right before he's about to take it over, it'll still keep that effect. So if he's in the creep, it'll still port back to your base, and then he'll be like, "Derp, I'm dead," because the tower or the wall kills him.
Wow,
it's pretty funny.
Derp.
All right. Yeah, that's it, though, obviously, other than the stacking changes. So there you go, guys. Kind of doing a rundown there of looking at the patch together, seeing what we thought about it. Good patch. Tomorrow, as I said as well, a little less than 24 hours from now, but tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, I guess that's what, 12:30, just half an hour after midnight of Central European time, we'll have Dog Kaiser on to discuss these changes and you know, obviously, again, this wasn't fully him by any means because this was a community patch, but, you know, give his insight in it and see what he thought about these changes and also give you guys a chance to ask him questions if you have them. So definitely tune into that tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's always great to have Doc Kaiser on as well.
And that's not the only thing he's talking about, of course.
There is something else that he's going to be talking about that is planned that we are looking forward to talking about tomorrow. So there's it's kind of a big deal. I'll say that much.
You'll have to wait for tomorrow to figure out.
You'll have to wait, exactly. The suspense is killing you guys, I know, but you will have to wait till tomorrow.
Killing me? What the hell?
It's going to have it may have an impact on the competitive scene. I'm just saying. Especially the competitive scene. So tune into that tomorrow, guys. It's going to be fun.
Sweet.
As far as today goes, guys, well, that is going to do it as far as what we needed to cover. We'll go ahead and do our shout-out moments here. So we'll start with you, Xander K. Any shout-outs you want to be given?
As always, to my lovely fiance, to everyone over at S2 Games for being the best damn coworkers I can possibly imagine. Shout outs to you fine Han community people, to the stream viewers here, because you guys are awesome as well. Very excited to see everyone at DreamHack. Looking forward to it. And yeah, shout outs to my Devils, even though, you know, today may be the last game of the season. It might be. We'll see. But still, shout out to my team. Still proud Devils fan.
Shout out to the Kings.
Okay.
Ziori, what do you got?
Well, pumped up for DreamHack, man. A week away, just doing any kind of prep work that we've been doing. You know, what color shirts are we going to wear? What color ties? When are we going to be here? Who's going there? It's been awesome, and I can't wait for the biggest DreamHack event Han's ever seen. I'm so honored to be a part of it, and I'm really excited about it. And that's sort of all I've been thinking about recently. It's a week away, you know, a week from tomorrow, I will be on a plane flying to Sweden, preparing to cast alongside Breaky CPK. I really can't wait. So other than that, you know, of course, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, /ZioriTV. Other than that, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, man. Looking forward to some epic Han action to come in the next couple weeks.
Looking forward to that. Dream Home, baby. Going to be a lot of fun. By the way, we do plan on doing a kind of a show before DreamHack, so next week, look forward to that. But yeah, so big shout out to you guys, community, because without you, you guys wouldn't be here in the first place. So you see that every time. That's going to do it, guys. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Doc Kaiser, again, going to be joining us here on the podcast. We'll get some insight on, you know, what he thinks and whatnot. Going to be a lot of fun. Oh, shout out to to Mike Murray, former producer, new producer Matt Klein, and of course Cammy as well. Got to give them love as well. Yeah, Murray, no longer with us, but you know, has to take care of. Real life came in the way.
We should clarify.
He did not die. I
guess
that is a good point to clarify right there. So, take it easy, guys. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Peace.